Praise you, Jesus. Thank you. 7, let's take our seats. And we're just going to have a look at a few scriptures. Keep it short and sweet. What's the plan? What's the plan? Trying to work it out as you go along, maybe brought up with a church background or not a church background, and you're trying to work out, well, where do I stand with God? What's right? What's wrong? What do I need to do? But I do think it is really important for people to try and get a grasp or an understanding of what's God's whole life, not knowing anything and kind of just hoping somehow everything will turn out okay in the end. And a lot of people, even people who profess to be Christians, would live that. And I don't think it's a very good idea not really knowing what God's plan is. I think it's better to know and then make an informed decision on what you want to do yourself. But just recently, Jana and Bobby were in Czech, and we were home alone for a week. But we were just chatting with the kids one day for our Easter holidays, and you didn't have to do anything. It was great, you know. It was just like, and I think it's still a very healthy thing now and again to get a day where you don't do anything, nothing gets done, and you kind of forget what time. Because there was a few things they'd planned a bit of it done, and we were just chatting about if you don't have applies that, whereas we can recognise when we're at school and work, we're quite productive. Like, we get a lot done because we've got a structure, we've got a bit of a plan to our life, and nothing really happens. I imagine Spirit-filled Christians looking to the Lord are pretty flexible. They'll just change if something changes. When I first started my job, quite a stable influence in our lives, and he was very down to earth, had everything in his life in order. It's really good, I suppose, influence loads, because now I'm getting paid. I think back then it was like 190 Irish pounds a week, and I thought, this is loads. And he goes, why don't you just save £20 a week? And and when I left, 4 years later, I left the factory and I moved to London, and he said to me, you must have a lot of money saved now. I think he was being a bit smart. And I was alone off with the money I got for it. I did other things. But it was a plan. If you just save 20 quid a week, I'd have £4,000 saved in 4 years, a little bit more. Right? But in my head, I thought, I'll do loads. And sometimes we're like that as humans. In our head, we think, yeah, we all find out the hard way, don't we? Sometimes I found out the hard way back then, that without a little bit of a plan or a structure, and that's good to be able to share that with the kids and that on board, and I've done it, and I can see now that if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have anything. Because that's I learned the hard way, the bad way. But so we can share things that we learn in our walks, plans. The biggest thing in my job, I've kind of been doing sales. I suppose, for as long as I can remember, really. And with my job at the moment, one of the most important things for success, they say, is plan your day. Right? So I like winging it a bit, because I think I can remember everything, and then you rock up at a job or a site. And that's the whole idea of planning your day. So you remember everything, and you get done what you really need to do. Jesus was interested in what people actually did. He was interested in what people did. We heard our sister tonight. She heard the gospel and she followed it through and got baptized. Jesus spoke about the people, sheep without a shepherd, nobody to lead them or guide them or help them. That's how he saw the people, and he had compassion on them. They had no plan. They didn't know what they were doing. And when we read those scriptures, we think, I can see myself in that. Sheep. Let's go to Luke 14. And I'm definitely not talking about this corporate world and in the business world, productivity. I think that's, it's a bit over the top. Back in the old days, somebody would head out, sales, get a couple of orders on a piece of paper and drop it back. Completely changed. We're paying you for 8 hours. What are you doing for those 8 hours, every minute of every hour? What are you doing? We want to know. And it's gone a bit to the other extreme now, but we're not talking about that. We're talking just about a plan. Luke 14:28. Sitteth not down first and counted and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down with 20,000? Or else while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desired conditions of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be about this, following the Lord your number one goal, and if you do that, you will be successful. And he's talking about thinking about it and evaluating the situation and okay, what do I do here? How do I do it? Can I do it? And I think the key ingredient really to doing it is seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. The Lord's got to come first. He's promised he'll look after all my other needs. And I think that's the key ingredient to know that you'll be successful with the Lord. Efforts, what's required, it needs consideration. Let's go to 1 Kings, just one scripture in the Old Testament. It's going to be short tonight. I'm going to just quote a few of the kings. Proverbs, I'm going to quote a few Proverbs. Proverbs 15 counselors, they're established. And that word purposes is to contrive an intention, a plan. So without counsel, it's good. That's what the Proverbs are telling us. Without counsel, the plans can become, you can be disappointed. You hear it on the radio, if you're planning to do this, come first. You want to make a plan, counsel is important, as the Proverbs tell us. Proverbs 16:9, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord, and it's this word is related. And we make our plans, and he guides our steps. And that's really important, because plans do change, and we got to make a bit of a plan, and we just committed to it all. Proverbs 21:5, the thoughts, which again is the same word, of the diligent tend only to plenteous, but think about what we do. Or we'll just... And he did evil because he prepared not his heart to seek the Lord. And I've just wrote down here, God wasn't in his plans. And he didn't really make any effort. And years reigned he in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Maachah, the daughter of Abishalom. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. And he took away the Sodomites out of the land, and removed all the idols that his fathers had made. And also Maachah his mother, even her he removed from being queen, because she had made an idol in a grove. And Asa destroyed her idol, and burnt it by the brook Kidron. But the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, Asa's heart... So his heart was perfect for the Lord, because he got to work, and he made a bit of a plan, unlike one of the other kings, Rehoboam. And he obviously saw idolatry wasn't a good thing. And he just... That's where we stand. Like, we might feel like, well, I don't know what to do, but we might think, well, that's one thing I need to start with in my life or in my walk. And sometimes when you start with that, you find success, and then other things become... One of the reasons was, well, he made the changes that were needed, and he made a bit of a plan and went about executing it. It was his choice, and he did it. There's about 160 or 70 years of more bad kings, and then Jotham turns up, and I just quote him from 2 Chronicles 27:6. So Jotham became mighty because he prepared his ways before. So he prepared as to set up direct. Thinking about some of these kings and preparing the heart, and the conclusion is they kind of had a plan or a goal or a name. They were trying to do something for the... and, you know, that's the question for us sometimes. Well, what's the plan to serve the Lord in our lives in general? What is our plea? Wake up in the morning and think, well, what's my plan today? But it's not a bad old question to ask, is it? Like, your life, where's it all going? What's your ultimate goal? Our actions conducive and helpful with what we're hoping to achieve or what we're planning long term? And is it Asa there? He sacked his poor mother, didn't he? But she was building idols, so he just felt like that had to go. And sometimes in our lives, something's got to go, because it's just, we just can't get anywhere without that. Let's go to Matthew 14. service to God? Is it in our good intention? Yeah, I'll save loads. Or is, our plan in service to the Lord or serving the Lord, is there something actually happening? Or, walk is being a new creature. I'm just going to quote a few scriptures. Romans talks about 7 verse 6, but now we are delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were boldness of letter. There's a lot of the Bible talks about the New Testament being this new creature, and that's not a bad place to start really. Walking with the Lord is just focus on becoming that, says, and have put on the new man, which is this newness and renewal. This is the Bible continually tells us that the renewing of our mind to walk in newness of life, and it's a continual thing. This is just a quick comment on Jesus. Matthew 14 verse 12, and his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went and told. When Jesus heard it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth to heal their sick. And sometimes I read this and I'm dead. And this is what they've done to him. We've buried him. And it's not very descriptive in how he reacted. But one thing he seemed to do is that really stands us in good stead is when we have a clear plan in our life like he did, and where we're going, what we're doing, and we've got to keep going. And like there will be circumstances anymore. We know what we're doing, and that really helps us. There's a guy that I work with, and he's been doing the job for a long time. And one thing he says you just have to keep. Well, it really helps. With the job, because more and with the Lord, I get that feeling from Jesus. I don't think he was being cold-hearted. I just think he probably already knew these things would happen, and he just carried on. Let's finish in Ephesians 4. The experts in the world. Here's why a plan is valuable: direction and clarity. Sometimes when we make a plan, it's easier to achieve goals. Time efficiency. The day where there's no plan, nothing gets done. Well, there you go. A plan can reduce anxiety and improve motivation and commitment. Clear goals and a well-defined plan can be motivating. It's a proactive approach, and this can be even on a very small level. Just like I said, it can be a plan for a day or just your plan. And enhanced accountability as well. Nothing to measure, and there's no accountability. And there's one thing with the Lord and the Bible is there's accountability, but that's really healthy and good for us. Ephesians 4 verse 17. Finish up. This I say therefore, and testifying the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind. Just this minute I read that word vanity, it's like there's no tossed to and fro, and the Bible's telling us don't be like that. Having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance, given themselves over until less on a time, but now it's completely different. As the truth is in Jesus, that ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man which is corrupt, according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and true holiness. And the new man has a focus, has an aim, has a goal, and what's our plan? Okay, let's just leave it there and have a prayer line. If you have any needs, come out the front, and if not, just be in prayer. All the needs that we'll praise you, Jesus. Hallelujah.